Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Big Lee's Worlds podcast. It is I, your host, Big Lee, coming to you once again from Big Lee's Boom Boom Room right here in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. And tonight, I have with me a very special guest, a good, close personal friend of mine, the hip hop rapper, Juggalo sensation, coming to you straight out of St. Louis, Missouri, Mr. P.O.W., Mr. Pimp on Wheels. P.O.W., how you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. It's a pleasure to be on this show. I'm glad to be out here still, you know, keeping my name going on during this pandemic.
Hey man, I understand that. Like we was talking about before we started recording, it's a kind of a crazy time out there. I'm glad to hear that you're staying safe out there, and I hope all the listeners out there are staying safe. Make sure you wash your hands. Make sure you social distance, keep 6 feet apart. And have you made it out to any of the stores lately?
The only stores I've really been out to was Walmart, just to have to get just normal stuff that you need. But other than that, nah, I just been pretty much staying in, staying safe. Ain't trying to risk it, I don't want to get sick, don't want to get my mom sick or no one else
Mm-hmm.
sick, and just staying safe, just kind of ready for this thing to be over with.
Man, I tell you, I was there before we started recording this. I went by the local store and get some supplies and get some groceries and get some errands run. And I tell you what, it's still crazy to me to look on the floor and see the X's on the ground, and just to kind of mark where everybody needs to be at. And it's even crazier the fact that like people see those X's and they still can't comprehend that that's where you need to stand at. So I'm
Yeah.
just like, you got to be kidding me. At the current rate, like I feel like the current rate of society, they're wanting to flatten the curve, and I feel like majority of these people can't understand how to flatten the curve.
Yeah, I totally get that too. It seems like, it kind of goes over their head or they don't take it serious or something. I don't get it.
Right? It's just like, hey, y'all want this to be over? Just listen, be smart about it. Like I said, it's a crazy time out there. People are being even crazier than they probably should be. Like I saw these pictures. Did you see these? I forgot what state it was, but they were protesting being having to stay inside, and they go on their lunch break and they walk into Subway with all these giant machine guns on their back from where they've been protesting.
Yeah.
I
I don't
was
get that part either, man. Like what does the guns have to do with the virus? I mean, it's just like people get the message twisted.
Yeah, that's why I was just like, one, that doesn't make any sense at all, and two, it's like what good is it doing? Like, I don't think that history is going to change or the virus is just going to go away because you're standing outside protesting with your guns, and it's gonna be like, whoa, they got these guns. We're going to the virus is just gonna up and leave.
Yeah, and the thing is, people calling it a hoax and stuff is, and to me, a person is like, who's getting the political gain? I don't want to get into politics, but it's like, who's benefiting from it? Like no one's really going to gain anything out of this if they're trying to do this for any particular political reason.
Exactly. It's like there's nothing to really gain from this besides mass hysteria.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
they get to the whole soapbox of people believing everything they read on the internet and seeing on TV, but that's a story for another day.
Yeah. I'm just saying, yeah, but it's just weird because like people are, it's like, well, who's, like who's gaining anything? There's nothing to gain out of this, besides unless someone's getting paid just for people getting unemployment. But other than that, I don't get it.
It's crazy. I heard a thing the other day. They were talking about how the average person can take or make more money on being on unemployment than actually working their job. And now they're afraid that as things are opening back up, people are going to refuse to go back to work and stay on unemployment.
Yeah, I mean, it's like if I could work out, I would, but it's just one of those things too. It's just like, yeah, you get people who kind of want a little extra break, but then you get people that want to go back to work and everything. And it is crazy seeing that people get more unemployment than they do working. It's
Mm-hmm.
kind of nuts like that and everything. And then like at the same time, it's just like it seems like they're trying to force people to go back to work, even though the people are getting sick, and it's just like really like you don't want to die for your job, but your job, your job wants you to die for them, but your job won't die for you. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. At the end of the day, they've already got your replacement ready to go if something happens to you. So,
Yeah.
but like I said, that's all. It's kind of a crazy world we're living in right now. So the best thing for everybody to do is, like I said, keep your social distancing, keep your 6 feet apart, wash your hands, use
Yes.
soap, water, hand sanitizer, if you can
Yeah.
find it. Do like I do every day. Look on the websites, and as soon as it comes available, order you a bottle and hope that the order doesn't get canceled and it actually shows up.
Has it happened to you yet?
So I actually got lucky. A couple of times I literally put the item in the cart, went to check out, and when I did, it was already sold out.
Oh man.
So what I did was I finally got a bottle that it took like 2 weeks to get here. So I actually split that between my mom and I.
Mm-hmm.
So she could have some down there, down in the hometown of the Boot Hill. And I've got a second bottle coming to do the same. And that way it'll basically be a bottle for a household here in Cape, and then a bottle for a household back home.
I got you.
Because with her, with her recently having back surgery and stuff like that, we need to take all the extra precautions with her down there with that. So, we want to make sure that she has the cleaning stuff, keep things sanitized and things of that nature.
Yeah.
Because I'm still trying to figure out 2 things. One is I remember when this all happened and the first hand sanitizer shortage started to happen. All these companies were coming out saying, hey, we're going to make this kind of we're going to convert this factory to hand sanitizer stuff. I guess it's like, well, wait, I've still yet to see any of this, like, out there.
Yeah.
Like, I saw Anheuser-Busch was supposed to start doing it, yet I've not seen any Anheuser-Busch hand sanitizer on the shelf.
Yeah.
And then I still kind of want to know how there's a Lysol factory in, I believe it's St. Peters, Missouri.
Uh-huh.
And yet there's the whole Lysol product shortage all around.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes you wonder.
Right, and that's kind of the same with the toilet paper deal. Like, there's a toilet paper shortage, but at the same time, from here a few miles away, there's a toilet paper factory.
Yeah. And a lot of that stuff does make you wonder. I mean, whoever makes toilet paper, I'm pretty sure they're getting paid pretty good. This is their best couple of months ever.
And then the big thing also being, this is one of the things that I think kind of really bothered me, and we'll kind of wrap this up with this, is
Okay.
we're talking about, what really comes about from this all happening. And, it's the first time I've really seen a sitting president have a conference or a meeting or press meeting or whatever you want to call it, with like all the heads of the big box retailers. Like, he did the meeting with Walmart head and Target and CVS and Walgreens, and it's just kind of like, wait a minute here. And a pandemic is happening. This is who you want to meet with.
Yeah, I feel you.
And then as the stuff kind of starts coming back in stock, seeing the price difference, like I saw today online, a normal like 80-cent bottle of rubbing alcohol is now like $2.
Oh wow, yeah.
And I was like, there we go. Now we're getting to the truth of the matter. So, but like I said, just be safe out there, folks. Stay in, relax, listen to the Big Leagues World podcast on your favorite platform or at bigleaguesworld.com. And with that being said, P.O.W., how'd you get started in the business?
It started, I think around, what was it, 2005 or something. It started all it started as a joke. It was just being jokey. Someone was just like, hey, can you rap? And I never thought about it. I was like, sure. And I did one song and it actually turned out pretty cool. And then I did another song over a Jack beat. It was that Busta Rhymes song called Break Your Neck. I did a song I'll leave about some silly shit called Beat It. And it was just about jacking your dick off. Instead of like break your neck, it was like stroke your dick. and we passed out at like some Juggalo show. And oddly, everyone thought it was funny, and it just did one show. And I did one show at a park, and then it just kind of snowballed and just kept going and going to where it is. And that's how I got to do bigger shows as ICP and Twisted and such. So it just started all as a joke.
Okay. So when was your what was your first big show?
My first big show was, I don't remember what year it was, but it was the Twisted Slaughterhouse show, and this is like how we say like how God works mysterious ways. I got cool with like one of the big people at Psychopathic, and he was just like, email him whenever I want a show, if there's something I can get on. So I seen Twisted come. It was with Twisted, P.O.W, and somebody else. And I emailed them like a month in advance. I literally didn't hear anything until like that Sunday before the show. And it was like, hey, this is, what's the dude's name? I can't remember the dude's name. This is I can't remember. But this was like Twisted's tour manager. Would you want to open up for Twisted? And I'm just like, this is bullshit because the show's like in a week. And I'm thinking that somebody's like joking around. And sure enough, it was literally Twisted's manager. But the oddest thing was, for whatever reason, Potluck happened to double book on the same day as Pop Show, so they couldn't make it. And that email I emailed like a month ago, literally they remembered it, and they told me, it was like, hey, you can do it if you want. And I got to open up for them for free, that no settle tickets, and just show up and perform. Oh yeah, the other artist was Kung Fu Vampire on that too. And that was my first big show, just out the blue like that,
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that tour, still have the t-shirt in my closet from it, but that was my first time, well, of course, seeing you, first time seeing Twisted. And the Kung Fu Vampire. We were actually, me and a buddy of mine, Cash Borden, we were talking earlier today, and we were talking about that tour, and we couldn't remember exactly who it was that dropped off, because it wasn't originally, I thought the Cottonmouth Kings was supposed to be on that tour as well.
No, it was Potluck. It was Potluck,
Okay.
And like I say, that's the reason I got on, because I was like, how did I get this show? Because the lineup was supposed to be full, and just oddly, Potluck had a whole nother date and like a whole other state away or something, and just oddly, I emailed them. They remembered me, and I got to open up. And like I say, it was so out the blue because you get a text like a Sunday and the show's like that next Saturday or something, and it's like, dude, this is one of your friends playing a joke on you,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah, most definitely a good old rib there.
Yeah, it was that, but that was a night to remember. That was my first big show, and like, that's like when, you hate to say like, how the numbers kind of went down, but that was like one of the last few times that like Twisted ever like packed Pops, because like the downstairs and the upstairs was completely packed. It was like the sold out Pop show. It was fucking crazy.
So I think that was kind of the end of I've probably talked to you about this before multiple times, and some of the diehard juggalos at that go to each show talked about. It's like, I remember that show, and I remember 2008, I believe it was the Bang Pow Boom tour with ICP and Head PE at Pops.
Yeah,
and I remember a lot of people, like that was a time where people got out there like 6 hours early. Everybody hung out in the parking lot, and it just was like, it was an all-day party ordeal.
Yeah.
And it kind of seemed with that Twisted show, like that was kind of like the last of that, because it seemed to all kind of, I don't want to say go downhill, but it just seemed like the people kind of got less and less, and
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Like, from what I understand, it was just like a lot of internal issues and stuff. And, like I said, the numbers just kind of dwindled for both. I mean, it's kind of messed up, say, for like all the underground artists. Because, I mean, Cottonmouth Kings had their issues to the point where, I don't know if you was at that show where, I was thinking when I played, I was thinking, dude, Cottonmouth Kings haven't been here in like 4 or 5 years. I'm thinking the show is going to be packed, and then like literally between me and the other opener, we only sold 24 tickets, and then the show ended up being free, for everybody, and it was like, wow. And then Hobson labels like shut down. It's just kind of been falling down for the underground music scene. I don't know what really happened.
Yeah, I was gonna say I remember I'd gotten free tickets for the Cottonmouth King show, but I still didn't go. And I know it sounds kind of terrible, but
Yeah,
it's one of those things being 2 hours away, and it's kind of like picking and choosing the shows that you want to go to. And
yeah.
with the Cottonmouth King, like I think at that time, like I forgot how many people was it with Cottonmouth Kings.
I think that show. I think it was all the members besides like three of them. You know, I mean, besides, 'cause I don't think Johnny Richter wasn't there. You know, Pakalika died then, and maybe one other person. And DJ Bobby B wasn't there, and Taxman was. You know, so quite a few members
Mm-hmm.
wasn't on that show. But it was. I mean, you know, considering it was a free show, it was still pretty dope. But at the same time, it wasn't the old Cottonmouth Kings, like if you know what you used to go
Right.
to.
Yeah. So from the Twisted show, you apparently had to impress a couple more people because you ended up still getting to open for ICP, correct?
Um, yes and no. Like okay, again, like I said, when I did that, it was the Riddle Box show, it was the after party show. That was another one. I just emailed Psychopath and was like, hey, is there any openers for this one? And again, I didn't I didn't know I didn't know until I literally got to Pops. The dude was like, hey, did you get my email? I'm just like, email? What email? You can open up for the night. So I had to literally rush while I was at Pops, get everything taken care of, perform, and had to get my merch brought there. It was like it was kind of crazy. But again, like usually like psychopathic is I don't want to say unorganized, but like sometimes they're hard to get a hold of. They got so much other shit going on. But
Right.
yeah, but open up for ICP. I mean, I think Lily opened up for every underground artist there was. I mean, there could be. I mean, from Hobson to Kung Fu Vampire, Come Out Kings, Twisted multiple times, Blaze, Boondocks, a lot of things. And then, like I say, me, I like to branch out, not just do rap, but I like to do like the rock shows too. And like I say, I've been fortunate to do like other rock shows. Maybe, well, I guess for people our age, it's awesome. Like bands like Power Man 5000 and Crazy Town. To me, it's like, oh, dude, I could nobody. I saw these guys on MTV.
How was it opening for Crazy Town?
Well, okay, it's funny story with that one was, for me, I liked them, so it was cool. But the funny part was like a lot of the juggalos, like most people had to work or whatever, and like for whatever reason, the Foo Bar shows started like super early, so a lot of the juggalos like kind of missed my set. When I performed, they was coming in and my set was just about over. But like all the rock bands had like 40 people per band or watching, so it was kind of packed. But the crazy part was when Crazy Town went out, everyone left besides the Juggalos. And and peep this. And like I said, it was like maybe 20 Juggalos. The Juggalos kept the mosh pit going so hard to like Crazy Town was like, we like to thank the Juggalos for going. So that means like all the rock band people, they left out, but the Juggalos stuck around and kept the mosh pit going. And Crazy Town killed it. I mean, like I say, if you like Crazy Town, they killed it. I mean, considering it was just like still the one guy, but it was a cool show.
See, this is where I get on my soapbox once again about the St. Louis rock scene. It's kind of one of those problems that they've had for years of like supporting one another. That's the thing, though. Like when people talk to me about like the difference between like the Juggalo St. Louis Juggalo scene versus the St. Louis metal scene. The
Mm-hmm.
St. Louis metal scene, like their band will play, the people see them, and then they'll leave. They don't care about supporting the other bands or other artists or things of that nature. Now, with the Juggalo shows, it always, they're there for the first, if they can be there, they're there from the first artist till the end.
Yeah.
And, I think that's one of the things that like the St. Louis metal scene could probably take away from that is to be like, hey, you need to support your other bands that's on these shows because it makes a better impression for everyone involved. And it's crazy because at first when it was just St. Louis shows, I thought it was that way. But then once I started branching out to Chicago and Nashville, you could see there's like the bands are supporting the other bands, and in St. Louis they just don't do that.
Yeah, like the one thing I noticed too, because like I said, I do all like, I do like normal rap shows too, and other kind of like, juggalo shows and rock shows. It's like, the one thing I noticed too with I've been to some like industrial rock shows where like literally pretty much still everyone stays and sees the main band.
Mm-hmm.
But I noticed too a lot of bands, like I say at the Crazy Town show, the bands that did perform before, after me or whatever, who had like bigger crowds, it was strictly their friends or family. They didn't know who the fuck Crazy Town was, or they didn't like them. Like they just came to see their friends. Compared to like Juggalo shows, it's like, well, we came to see, me, everyone else, and the headliner. So, we got more reason to stick around compared to I'm just came to see my brother's band. Like that's what I noticed too. And even with like the normal rap shows I did, like I did one show where I ended up like headlining once, and a lot of the groups that went on before me, it was strictly just their friends and family just to come and see them perform. And then after that, they're just like, well, they didn't know who I was, or and these other bands, so, there was really no reason for them to stay, but, and like I said, that's the one thing too, like, I'm fortunate enough to say, I actually do have fans. It's not just like, 'cause usually I'm the only child. So it's like, I don't have brothers and sisters or cousins to come, so pretty much everyone who comes to see me, definitely they see me once and they're actually a fan or a good friend, like that in a way too. So, and they tell, oh yeah, come and see P.O.W. So that's, a pretty cool thing about Juggalos too. Someone's going to like somebody's music and you're going to make some fans out of it compared to other genres where they just kind of just stick around for like their friends band and they leave,
And not only did you get to do that,
mm-hmm.
you also got to perform at a wrestling show.
Oh yeah, the JCW.
Yeah, someone promised they was going to do a backflip and they never did.
Yeah, dude, the JCW. Oh my god! Like when I did that show, like it was fun, but like I guess I never thought about like the whole. Cause I ended up going backstage after that show, and that was the grossest thing ever because it was so much blood back there, and like I didn't think about like, oh my yeah, that's right. These guys do get cut up and stuff. It was like gross and stuff. Cause like most people, like I'm in a wheelchair. I don't want to have to like touch the wheels after blood compared to on the bottom of somebody's shoes. That was horrible.
So for those of y'all listening that are not familiar with JCW, JCW is Juggalo Championship Wrestling. It is a hardcore wrestling federation that was running. I think they do maybe one show a year now, if that, at the Gathering. But it was kind of a predecessor for what a lot of the companies that you see do now with the hardcore and the deathmatch wrestling. And that's where a lot of your deathmatch wrestling legends like your Madman Pondo, your Necro Butcher, your Two Tough Tonys, your Deadly Del Chitties come from. So just to kind of give you that background there, and if you're a fan and you know that you're going to a wrestling show, if you're expecting like maybe what you see in like a WWE show, and then you get an experience like POWs who did not fully expect all the blood in the glass. And
yeah, I mean, like you see it, and like I said, I guess because like if you're a fan, like you're away from it compared to how they got to go backstage with it, and it's like, oh, that's right, there is all this blood and stuff all around and stuff like that.
And it's interesting. Somebody like myself who gets really deep dive into the deathmatch culture versus the people that go, they don't expect it. And we see it at each of the deathmatch tournaments or shows we go to. Like there's a group of us like myself who get out there, and it's like when they use the light tubes, you get either the people want to step away when they use the light tubes, or you want them to be right there in front of you when they crack somebody in the head with a light tube, or cut them with a hacksaw, or bust them open with a barbed wire.
Yeah, because I remember they had one at Pops, and I didn't know about it until like it was going on, and I actually would have went, because like they had like a deathmatch one, because it was like super late at night. I think I seen it, but I didn't pay attention to it.
Mm-hmm.
Until people started like streaming, and I was like, oh man, I actually would have went to that because like it's always cool seeing the those death matches. Like I said, it's one thing seeing it on video on YouTube, but to actually see it in person, it's a totally different experience.
And speaking of different experiences, you've had some gathering experiences, I do believe, correct?
Yes, I've been to 14 of them and performed at 4 or 5 of them.
How was it performing at the Gathering? Did you get the Tila Tequila treatment?
No, I got the crazy treatment. I always had like some crazy shit going on, but yeah, it was actually actually fun. Like I say, if you're a newer artist, like with don't have that many fans, it might suck because like no one comes to see you. But luckily, I had people who knew who I was and that was actually to come out to see me. besides the heat and like every now and then you don't want to perform on the first day. It sucks. I got a story, another story too about performing together. But like I say, if you got people to come see you and you get a good time, it's cool. But the my first gathering, I ended up missing my set, and like I said, this is a whole story. Like I didn't know. I was just like, cool, you get there. I thought I would be able to get in early, but like the line was so long because it was the first day. So I ended up just like trying to roll there, and I got like super super overheated to the point I almost passed out, and I missed my whole set. And like the next day, I ran into the same dude. I'm cool with a psychopath, like one of the main people who own them. I saw him and he asked me, how was it? And I told him the situation. I was like, hey, I tried to get there, but the line was long and I got overheated. I almost passed out, so I ended up missing it. And he was just like, well, do you got your set? I can put you on tonight at midnight, which is like if you get like the midnight set after the main stage, that's the cool one. So he called on the walkie-talkie and like maybe go on at midnight. And so I got to perform in front of a couple of hundred people just because I almost got sick or whatever. And like that's the one thing I always tell people, like some people dog on psychopathic because they're like an underground label, but I'm just like if they're they take care of people, they take care of the juggalos, something that I will never forget, compared to other labels who honestly might not consider it. They might just like, okay, that's your loss or whatever, and go about their business, but they actually work it out for people like that. And I'm always like show them love for that,
Yeah, most definitely. Then so you said you did it about 4 or 5 times performing there?
Yes.
So what kind of crazy stuff did you say at the gathering?
Okay, like
it's okay. We got the parental advisory warning. You're good.
You mean performing or just in general?
All of it.
Okay. Performing wise, it's nothing crazy. Just like it just pictures like a typical concert. But in general, this is the craziest shit I have ever seen. I was minding my business, and of course, like a lot of people know me, and it was some dude who came up to me, and he was just like, "Oh, hey, P.O.W, how you been?" Just normal conversation, and I was like, "Cool, like I'm good, I'm having fun." And he was like, "Have you seen my friend? His name is Freak Show." And I'm just like, "Oh no, I don't know who he is. I haven't seen him." And he was like, he does all this, freak show stuff, sideshow gimmicks or whatever. And he was like, I'm gonna bring him over to you later. So this was like during the main stage of the show. And picture this. I'm on a wheelchair platform with all these disabled people. And all of a sudden, this dude comes over, the one who knew me. He has this super skinny dude with like pink hair. Like, no, it was bright orange hair. And he was all like, hey, P.O.W, this is my he does this freak show stuff. And picture no one knows what the fuck's going on besides, this dude knows me. And he's all like, okay, I'm going to do a sideshow trick. I need $5. So no one's like, we're not going to pay this dude $5. So he's like, well, since he says you're cool, P.O.W, I'm going to do the trick for free. Now, I kid you not, this is what the dude did. The dude literally, first time he was carrying this just gallon jug of water with chains. So dude literally drops his pants, pulls his dick out, gets this gallon jug of water with hooks on it, sticks it through holes in his dick, and spins around and swings it.
What?
Yes. And that was his thing. He had like these body modifications, and he had his dick pierced or something, and stuck these holes through with this chain and this gallon jug of water, picked it up and just started spinning it around. And I'm just like, wow. And out of all the people that people can know, he knew me. And that was crazy.
Did you end up giving him the $5?
Yeah. People he got more than $5. A lot of people got. They was like that was worth $5, so he got paid for that one.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That was, I think that was the craziest thing I've ever seen at the gathering. I mean, that was something you never forget. People talk about all the other like weird sex shit or the drug bridge. No, once you see a dude pick up a gallon jug of water with his dick and spin it around, that tops everything.
Yeah. That Yeah, I don't even know
Yeah.
what to say about that. I don't get speechless too often, but
Yeah, and then like I said, some of the people who go to Pops, they were there too. And like I said, the funny part was because it was people just like walking around. They're just like, "Why the fuck is this dude with this? Oh god, he just picked up the jug of water." Yeah, it threw everyone off. And like I said, out of all the people this dude could know, his friend knew me. But brought him over to me.
so what's your experience like with the uppers, the up and uppers, or what's the word I'm looking for? The top echelon of psychopath. Like, what's your relationship with Shaggy and Violent J?
Like honestly, I haven't had too much experience with Shaggy because, like, they kind of do their own thing. But Violent J, it's like, I mean, I don't like hang out with, like, when they come in town, they know, like, he knows who I am because, like, one time at that JCW, I think I was just minding my business, and he was like, "Oh, hey, what's up, P.O.W, how you doing?" And at one gathering, I was at JCW, like, just like because just trying to, like, waste time or something, and Violent J came over, and he had like a 20-30 minute conversation with me about, wrestling. I'm not really a wrestling fan. I was just like, they're just like wasting time, but he had like a 20-30 minute conversation with me about wrestling and just how I've been, and it's just stuff like that. Like I said, I didn't hound dog him either, but it's because I whatever, but it's pretty cool that they remember who you are, and they talk to you like normal people. It's nothing weird. Like I say, I partied with, you pretty much name it. Like one time I partied with ABK, Bones, Dub, Big Hoodoo to like 11:30 the next morning after a show at Pops. And that was pretty crazy because, like I said, it was like I actually got to party with rock stars all night.
I was gonna say I remember the experience at Pops at the JCW show with Violent J when you set us up, and Mr. Violent J was not too happy to see us in there.
Oh yeah. That was yeah. I remember that one. That was a pretty an interesting night too. Yeah.
But yeah, but yeah, like you said, it's not just psychopathic record artists, or now was it Magic Ninja record?
Yeah.
Like it's pretty well. Like you performed with Scum, didn't you?
Yes. Now Scum's the man. Like Scum is cool as fuck. I remember the first time I did the show, and like that was like a last minute show because I remember he was coming to the Mad Magician. I don't know if you remember that place.
Oh, I remember the Mad Magician.
Yeah, he came there, and like this is like when he first started coming around, and for whatever reason, like I don't know if it was the management or whatever, like they didn't promote the show, and like no one knew about it, and it was like, well, who wants to perform? Just email me, and I emailed him, and it was like literally like me, one other person, another artist. They brought like three people, and just like I guess two drunk people just kind of happened to walk in off the street or whatever, and that was it. And then Scum performed it, and after that, he was cool. Cause and this is the funny part too, because they was like, yeah, P.O.W, time to go on stage, and they're looking right. They saw me rolling in a wheelchair, and you can tell the Scum's crew was like, who the fuck? Why the fuck is this dude in a wheelchair going up here? Oh shit, this dude fucking can rap. And then after that, then we became cool or whatever. And then every time Scum comes into town, I open up for him because he's actually a really cool down there dude. He's like one of the most humblest people ever.
I've only met him at one time. I forgot what show he was at, but I'm trying to remember what show it was he was on. It may have been a Twisted show, I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
yeah, might have been Twisted.
But I remember I bought one of his shirts and CDs and met him and talked to him. Super cool dude. Is a shirt that ended up almost getting me arrested back home for standing in front of a cross wearing it. And yeah, apparently they can threaten to arrest you for being sacrilegious in the boot hill. So, fun fact
Wow.
for those of y'all that like to wear offensive T-shirts, don't wear it near a church because the local popo will try to arrest you.
Oh wow, I never knew that.
Yeah, it was a crazy ordeal. But yeah, because I mean, there's them. I'm trying to think who else. Like, then I know you've always done the the Juggalo Christmas Bash.
Yeah, we did the first it was just Christmas, but yeah, first it was Christmas Bash. Then we started doing two of them. One of them was like, summer, Christmas, 420, stuff like that, just to kind of change them up and everything. And at first, they started off really small, just like at a park. And then we moved up to started moving up to Pops, and like the first one at Pops was cool. It was just strictly local. And then we were able to, since they started was doing good, we was able to get a book ABK. Then one time we booked ABK and Big Hoodoo, bigger names and stuff like that. It was just, it became a big thing. It was pretty fun.
And that's the thing also about you is like people got to realize is it's not just if it's a show, like even if it's not just a show that you're on, if it's a show that you're not on, like you're always supporting the scene.
Yeah, yeah. I try to support people. Like I say, it's like I say, it's one of those things too where you might not see a cool artist. Like I say, a lot of artists that who play the Juggalo Bash, just I went to like a local show and I was like, oh, dude, you're actually pretty cool. You want to, I do Juggalo Bashes, we do this show and I show them a video or whatever. Do you want to perform here? Like I said, I always try to get other rock bands, other different kind of bands out there that actually seem pretty cool. Oh, this is the one thing too I noticed too when I started doing more rock shows. It's weird because like how you said like the rock scene kind of doesn't like stick around.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed like that the artists in rock bands, they show me a lot of love than I did at other like more hip hop shows because like I said, when I opened up for Motograder and
Motograder.
You say what?
I just Motograder. That they're an interesting group of individuals.
Yeah. But I opened up for Motograder. Oh, it was Motograder and then it was a Killer's Confession. Those were the two other rock bands. And it was weird seeing that because, like, considering I'm like a black dude, like I was like one of the few black people at that show and I started rapping and it was totally different, but they still showed me a lot of respect for artists compared to like fuck his music. They actually gave me a lot of props for it. It was the same thing with Crazy Town and Power Man 5000. With the openers, it was actually cool seeing like, a totally different artist genre they still showed me a lot of respect for. And even like it was Waylon from Mushroom Head, in The Killer's Confession, he showed me a lot of love and respect too. He was kind of shocked I knew who he was too.
Yeah, they well for a while there, Mushroom Head was really big in that ICP scene.
Yeah.
I believe I remember they toured together.
Yeah, like the last time ICP was here, Mushroom Head toured with them, and I don't know. It's weird seeing them perform now. Like I understand they're older, and it doesn't seem like they have the same, I guess, enthusiasm.
I mean, they've been through some vocalist change, some member changes, and some behind the scenes internal stuff that I think kind of worked against them or worked against their what's the word I'm looking for here? Work against their enthusiasm, I guess you could say. But I did hear a rumor, and I wanted you to confirm if it's true or not.
Okay.
I heard that you tried to out party Big Lee and you almost died.
Yeah. That was what show? I had to perform or something. That might have been JCW.
I don't remember if it was JCW or if it was the Rich show.
Yeah, it was some show. I know I had to perform at. And I was like, yeah, I had one drink with you, and it turned into like Fireball this, Fireball that, Chug a Beer. And I was like, oh, dude, I gotta perform. Dude. I'm a little too buzzing right now. Yeah. That was an experience. That was crazy.
We'll have to revisit that one day once the world gets back open here.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Oh, another fun show too I had is like was open up for Head PE. A Head PE is always a fun show to open up for.
Oh, Head PE is a fun show.
Yeah.
I remember was you on the show where he had to stop because the two attractive females started to lick on the breast and got everybody distracted?
I've been to so many shows. A lot of shows can sometimes seem like blurs unless something like really, really, really crazy happens,
Right. Yeah, I think the last count is 10 or 11 Head PE shows I've done.
Yeah.
And that one kind of sticks out, and kind of one of those things, like you talk about things I remember. I remember one time we were at Pops, and there was a band called Thy Artist Murder was playing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was when a tornado was coming through.
Oh, wow.
And the power got knocked out. And
wow.
that was kind of a weird experience. But
Yeah, I think the weirdest thing. I was at some local show where a tornado hit in Cahokia or something, I think, and it was
huh?
so close, and it did put the power out for a few seconds, and that was kind of like, oh, dude, maybe I should have stayed home this time.
And see, that's one of those things is like, well, before I get to that, what was your experience like with Power Man 5000?
It was it was a fun show. It was weird because like now for that one a lot of Juggalos did come out, and for some reason I always had like some crazy stories when I do shows. But when I did Power Man 5000, um, the rock scene was pretty cool. They liked the music until I was all like, "Hey, where my Juggalos at?" Literally, the rock scene was like zip, moved all the way back, and left all the Juggalos at the front. Yeah, but then the other weird thing was, after I got off the stage, it was like some dude. Apparently, he just got out of jail, and he was like, "I'm not homophobe or anything like that," but the dude was like on some weird shit. Was all like, "You should have pulled your dick out." You should, and I thought the dude was just joking, but apparently he went to like all these other juggalos and was like, "Hey, I just got out of jail, but can I see your dick?" To the point they was like about to beat this dude up, and it was like. I mean, like, how do I always attract like the most bizarre stories ever?
Did you tell him, well, if you buy a T-shirt and CD?
Like he was like so on one, and he just like kind of wandered away, and like that's why I thought he was joking because like he left me alone like after that. But then apparently he started going up to everyone else doing it.
Wow. So I was gonna say, one of the things is like kind of made me sad with St. Louis music scene, and it seemed like it was getting a little better before all this happened. Was the go-to place for me for shows was always Pops.
Yeah.
And it kind of seemed like Pops was getting away from that.
From what I'm understanding was Pops like, and this is like when we started doing like a lot more like Juggalo shows at Pops and stuff. Mm-hmm. From what I understand, that rock shows honestly just wasn't pulling no more because they were saying like, hey, yo, we'll pay a band like 40,000 and only 100 people show up, and they was losing money like that compared to like rap shows and Juggalo shows where the cost was cheaper and a shit ton of people will show up,
Right.
And then like that's why like a lot of bigger bands I guess started moving to places like the Fubar and the Ready Room and stuff because they was willing to take them, but they were just saying that they was just losing the money on rock bands. And I kind of do miss like a lot of the rock shows. I mean, like I guess it's like unless it's like a legend show like that, a Static X show or something. But I think it was just typical business money situation.
Mm-hmm. I tell you what, it does end up leading to some crazy experiences. Like I'll never forget the time like I saw Devil Driver at Fubar.
Yeah, I heard about that one. I wanted to go, but I was like, dude, that's too small of a venue for me to go because I'm just not going to be able to see them with somebody's back.
Right. I saw Soulfly. You remember Soulfly?
Yeah.
I saw Soulfly there, and that was just like, whoa. Like, and both of those shows, and I saw Machine Head at Fubar.
Uh-huh.
So it's like those big bands, like you see them at a little stage like Fubar, and you're just kind of like, wait, what's going on here? Like, what's the deal here, St. Louis? But like I said before, this whole country shut down, it was really getting to the point to where bands were getting back to Pops, and I was really excited about that. But of course, the world decided to take a break and shut down for a little bit. So what do you think about all this venue stuff going on now? You heard the Ready Room closed?
Yeah, the Ready Room closed. I mean, and it's just, and like I say, I guess it's one thing too. Like I say, you know how it is. Like when you book wrestling shows. And like for just a normal fan, you just see like, I guess, one side of the situation. But if you're on the other side, like where you book the shows and all this, I guess you kind of relate to like where they're coming from. Because like I couldn't imagine the stress that venues have to deal with to constantly pay your rent, pay your employees and all this, and let alone pay your band. And hopefully you bring the money. And like, to me, that would be way too much headache,
Yeah, because I think they posted the link for renting the building, and it's like almost $10,000 a month to rent it.
Yeah.
So I couldn't imagine like.
Yeah. I mean, that's crazy high. I mean, and like I say, you gotta pay for the band, and hopefully the band doesn't want a ridiculous amount, and then you got to add the tickets, you got to pay your employees, and heaven forbid if someone slips. I mean, it's just a
Mm-hmm.
lot of overhead that that fans really don't realize. And like I say, just the money you bring back in sometimes isn't really worth all the headache. I mean, like I say, I do music for just because it's a passion, but sometimes it's like the reward isn't worth it, but you still do it because it's fun. And that's how I can see people doing, like, renting out venues or being a booking person. But when it boils down to it, I think it's just strictly about what can you really afford.
Did you ever make it to the Ready Room?
Yeah, I've been there. I've been there once or twice. I think. Yeah, I've been there twice. I went to see Yin Yang Twins there, and then I went to see Head P Head P and P.O.W.
Oh, I remember that show with War
Yeah,
of Ages and the Dead Deads.
yeah, and that was kind of funny because like you could tell P.O.D. kind of got like a little butthurt because everyone really came to see Head P, and when Head P got off the stage, like the crowd left, and it was kind of funny.
I can't say nothing. I was one of those people. I think I made like 2 POD songs, and I was like, oh, look, I've seen POD enough. I can, I've seen them a bunch of times before. I can go ahead and beat the traffic, which I
Yeah.
got lucky because because I did not understand the St. Louis parking there. I literally, talk about a blessing, was walking out to my car as the cop was getting ready to give me a ticket for being illegally parked in a permit zone. But, I don't know, man. Like, I think that was to me like my biggest complaint with Ready Room was the parking.
Yes, the parking sucked. I think that's the reason I really didn't like going there a lot either, just because of the parking. Like if it wasn't for the parking, I probably would have went there for more shows, but the parking sucked. The parking was horrible.
Yeah, you had the parking, and then the sound was always kind of iffy.
Yeah.
But I think probably my favorite venue there is, for those that's never really seen Big Lee outside of the podcast or the ads for it, I'm 6 foot 300 pounds, so I don't get too overly into the shows like Rowdy or anything like that. But it was Every Time I Die and Knocked Loose played there, and I'm a huge Knocked Loose fan. So I remember when Knocked Loose came out, like I came out of Mosh retirement hard. Like I was the crowd killer. Like I wanted to get up there and scream, "All my friends are dead." No barricade, just pushing and just pushed up there to grab the mic to scream it. Like standing on the floor, just reaching up. And that was the cool thing about the not the Firebird, the Ready Room stage is it was low enough to where I mean it wasn't Firebird low, but it was still low enough that you can get a hand up there and grab the mic and do what you needed to do.
Yeah, I mean, the one place I missed too, I missed the Firebird because the Firebird was actually a cool venue too.
See, I did not show the Firebird enough love, and I regret that because they had a lot of cool shows that came through there.
Uh-huh.
I know I went to a local show there. I saw Maylene and the Sons of Disaster there before Dallas got hurt, and I saw the 3 Day Grace tour that came through there. Like they were doing a small radio tour right before the original lead singer left, and
Uh-huh.
that place was packed. Like you could not
Oh,
move, breathe, or hardly anything in there. And then I got to see Nels there, which is I love Nels. If you've ever listened to them, they're a blackened hardcore band.
uh,
And then of course getting to see one of my favorite childhood bands there, Dope.
well, so you was at the Dope reunion show where it was Dope, Soil, Motivator, and all that?
I don't think was Soul there. I don't think Soul. It wasn't Soul. It was
No, yeah, it
Flaw.
was Flawed. That's what it was.
Yeah, because I remember Chris, the singer, like he looked different from the last time I seen him here in
Yeah.
Cape. And we were talking outside, and he's like, "Hey, you said you saw Flaw before?" And I didn't know who the guy was. I was like, "Yeah, I saw him in Cape. Well, I think it's like a year or two before." And he's like, "Oh, that's cool. I'm the vocalist." I was like, "What? Nah, you don't look like the dude." And the dude showed me his license, and he was really Chris. So that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, that show was dope. Like I had a lot. Like I wanted to open up for that show. I was like trying, but like there was
Hmm.
like I don't think there was any openers or whatever. But that show I had fun because I'm a huge Dope fan or whatever. And like the one cool thing about Dope, like, and like I say, I say this too because like I remember this happened. Like I had this was like a cool experience. Like I was like on the side of the stage before I could see, and I was like jamming out, and like the guitarist, I don't know, the guitarist or the bassist, but the dude Virus like saw me like jamming out, and he came up and gave me like a bottle of water and a guitar pick, and like as a fan, that's like the coolest experience
Mm-hmm.
ever.
Yeah, that was one we got to meet him before the show out by the bus doing the meet and
Oh
greet
yeah.
there, and like to meet Easel was just like, oh my god, like let's talk about a fangirl moment.
Yeah, like I was trying, cause like I got to get in early, and like I wanted to be, cause I saw him like walk by, and I was like, and, like I didn't want to like hound dog, so I was like, so it's like his roadie. I was like, hey, can I get a picture with him? And he's in a bad mood right now, and he probably don't want to be bothered. And I was like, fuck, dude, cause like I was like, I wanted to get him, but I wanted, and I tried to get a picture with him too at the last Static X show, but he never came like off the stage or whatever.
Do you think he's the guy in the mask?
Yeah. That's who it is.
Yeah, I read the article that he put out or comments that said, like people were too much worried about who was under the mask, but he was cool when I met him. So, and then I think probably the other memory from the Firebird is so there's a band. I don't know how much you followed of this. There's a band called Traders,
Okay.
and Traders is kind of where the whole St. Louis unsafe music scene started because allegedly they had a PS3 and some stuff stolen out of their van.
Oh wow.
And it's kind of one of the big things. Like it made the whole music news, and talk about how some of the promoters are shady, and it was an inside job and all that. Well, anyways, it was I believe who was the headliner of that show? I think it was Unearth.
Uh-huh.
Was it Unearth? I think it was Unearth. I think it was Unearth, Fit for an Autopsy, uh, Traders, and somebody else. But anyways, it was like the first time Traders agreed to come back to St. Louis in a few years. And that was kind of a big deal for Firebird. So I thought that was pretty cool. But like you said, yeah, it's sad that it's gone. But what's going on with Fubar?
Honestly, I don't know. Apparently, I heard the FUBAR was going to move across the street to the Red Flag, and then out the blue, FUBAR is opening back up. So I don't know. And like, I mean, I don't quote me on this, like whatever. But I'm just hearing like I heard from someone that like that the Red Room might have moved to the where the FUBAR was going to go, but I don't know. Like everything's kind of in the wind right now. It's kind of weird. I don't know what's going on with the FUBAR.
Yeah, because it's kind of crazy because the way that's making it sound when that came out, it's like, the red flag wasn't going to happen. Now it's coming out that both the red flag and Fubar is going to run. So that's going to be kind of interesting to see how that works out.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to work together or what. I mean, because like you say, some shows were just kind of too small to be at the FUBAR. They need like a tad bit bigger place.
Yeah, and I mean the big thing is I just hope they get the park. Like I'm a big parking person wherever I go, and that was probably my biggest complaint with Fubar is the parking.
Yeah,
They did start using that lot. If you would
yeah,
get there in a time where there would be someone to open the lot,
yeah,
because being from the south down here, we're not too big on the street parking and meter parking and all that fun stuff.
yeah. Like that's the one thing. Like I said, that's the one thing I always tell people about Pops. Like Pops spars you. You got a parking lot, and especially if you're an artist, like they give you like they treat you like a star too.
Mm-hmm.
And just something simple as having a parking spot. Like big parking lot. Makes you want to go back to a venue a lot easier.
That's the thing people don't understand is like people look at Pops being on the same east side, but they
Yeah,
got to realize Pops is probably the safest venue outside of like the Scott Trade or Enterprise or whatever it's called. Like,
yeah,
Pops has its own security force and,
yeah.
cameras on the venue, stuff like that. Like, it is the safest venue to go to.
Yeah, I mean, and considering like before I started going to Pops, like they made accommodations for handicapped people, because some venues they're just like, wait in line, they're just like, oh, just get here early and just tell a security guard and we'll let you in 10 minutes
Mm-hmm.
before you can get a spot. I mean, they help you out. I mean, I don't have anything bad to ever say about Pops. I never had any bad experience there ever. It's always been a good time.
Right. I think literally the only bad experience I had was They told us we couldn't wait too long outside the bus to meet Parkway Drive. But we
Uh,
ended up just finally going back into the venue and running into the tour manager who hooked us up with meeting the vocalist at Parkway. So, but otherwise, like it's, it's always been a good time there. It's, you feel safe there. And
yeah.
like I said, I was always happy to go to shows there. And personally, I also like the fact like it's easier to navigate to than trying to get to, Foo Bar or the Firebird or anything like that. It's a much easier drive, especially coming from down south.
Yeah, it's a good place. Like I say, I mean, like I say, if you want to go to a strip club or whatever, or even if you're like so much too drunk, you can just chill out and you drink water. They don't kick you out.
Right, exactly. So with that, I mean, so what does 2020 hold for POW?
Right now,
I keep wanting to call you your shoot name, and I'm like, oh wait, nope, we're not doing that here.
no, honestly, I really don't know. I mean, like I have tons of music I've recorded. Um, like I said, I have shows, but like I say, with the virus, literally everything is kind of on hold or kind of you playing it by ear to ear. But that's just with literally everything right now. I'm trying to do a live Facebook show, but it's kind of hard trying to get I guess the sound right. It's one thing to hear it from your own viewpoint, but to stream it, your music comes out distorted or something. So yeah, I'm still trying to get that taken care of to the point where I can possibly do like a Facebook live show in my house, because everyone's been trying to see me, where they want to see me perform or whatever. And other than that, just staying safe and just, staying safe and staying busy.
Where can people find your music at?
Literally just Google, like Google Pimp on Wheels or YouTube, it pops up, or Facebook. And like honestly, I'm still, I guess, still kind of old school. I'm not really into like I guess the digital age, because it's a cool feeling seeing people actually buy all your CDs at once. Compared to just I listen to it, but you don't see them with it. You know what I mean? It's not an ego thing, but it's just one of those things. Like it's cool people still buy it. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you on that.
So like, I don't do digital, like unless it's on YouTube. I never listen to any Spotify or Apple Music or anything like that. To me, I prefer just to still buy the CD or vinyl or something. And people say you need to do this, and it's just still one of those. I guess you got to weird feelings.
Well, my big thing is I've kind of started converting, going over to all digital, just for the one simple fact of when I bought a new car last year, it didn't come with a CD player. It comes with, you literally just have to plug your phone in or listen to the radio. And it seems like a lot of cars are getting away from having CD players.
Yeah. And we just bought I just got a new car. I think it's 2020 or whatever. And, I was surprised. I mean, it came with a CD player, but it also came with tons of like digital stuff too, for flash drive points and all this. But like I said, eventually, and like I said, I guess it's one of those things too. When it still boils down to it, it's still a money thing. It's like, well, do I you don't have all the money to pay for a subscription just to get people to buy your stuff, and you might not make the revenue off of it. And it's just like one of those situations, and it's like, you see how much people pay for, oh, I'm gonna get my money, I'm gonna get my music played on all these platforms. And it's like, you just kind of generate money, to make them rich. And it's not about the money, but it's not,
right.
The views off of it compared to like you CDs, you know how many CDs you buy, and you just kind of, it makes you some more sense right now. It's just one of those situations too.
So do you have someone where people can order online to get your stuff?
Usually just inbox me or whatever. I usually get it taken care of that way.
Okay.
And Pimp on Wheels at like Facebook Pimp on Wheels, and it pops up, and it you can do it lower. Because I had people parents IM me. Oh yeah, my son's just like disabled, and he saw you perform, and I want to buy him your stuff. And usually, I give him like a super cheap price and hook them up.
Right.
Because like whatever. But just find me on Facebook and stuff like that. And like I said, I'm surprised. Facebook is still around, because like I said, I remember going from MySpace, and it took me forever to switch over to Facebook, and it was like, well, cool, now MySpace is dead and everyone's on Facebook, and I'm still not too big on Instagram, because people still on Facebook.
I don't know, like if there wasn't for the podcast, I would have completely gotten rid of Facebook. I'll be honest with you. I hate Facebook with a passion. I ended up. I mean, you was part of it. I had a much larger Facebook personal, and I got rid of it just because I got tired of fooling with it and the people in there. I really wanted to cut it down to the people that I was close with, and then it gave me one to manage the public page for the podcast. But otherwise, it's pretty well. I'm big on Twitter, big on Instagram. I love Instagram.
Yeah, I mean Instagram's cool. Like I guess like I got a bigger following on Facebook or whatever, and I just use Instagram just to follow celebrities and see what's going on there. But other than that, as personal use, like I just don't. I mean, I guess I like the platform of Facebook a tad bit better, but Instagram is fun for Instagram stuff.
So with this, we did have a couple of fans submit some comments, questions, things of that nature. First things first is probably your number one most diehard fan in the whole wide world, Mr. Shannon Stinson of Cape Girardeau, Missouri, who he does not understand why your music has not won a Grammy yet.
Honestly,
he does say that you are a lyrical genius.
I don't know. I mean, I people ask me that question before, why I'm not bigger or whatever. And like I say, I have submitted my music to, major labels, and they both did, they gave me feedback, but like, I guess kind of when it boils down to it, I this is just me thinking about it. I don't quote me on anything, but sometimes it's like, they don't think I'm marketable. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
The fans like me. And it's like, well, okay, like, because like I wrote labels where I'm like, well, look at artists like the Fat Boys or Bushwick Bill or stuff like Ghetto Boys. They had something that kind of stood out, and I was like, even for them, they were clown makeup, and it's like, yeah, we would submit you to our published artists, but then it just kind of doesn't go anywhere. And sometimes it seems like it doesn't like I'm really marketable, or they don't know how to market me. And I was just like, well, pretty much, I tell them like, everyone who out there has someone close to them who's kind of disabled, and that makes them gravitate to music more. Not saying like take a sympathy party, but to actually pay attention to it more. Right. And it's just kind of one of those things is more so what I'm thinking about. Like I don't take it so hard. I don't know if there's other reasons, but because like I said, when I first started trying to perform at Pops, it was hard for me to get the promoters at the time. Then, the ones who used to work there, to take me serious, to be like, well, we just don't want to do it. I was like, well, I can do it. I can do what I got to do. Just give me a shot. And then, once they started getting like a different promoter at the time, and it was like, well, fuck it, let's see what he can do. And it's like, wow, he actually can perform good. He does this. He does what he needs to. And then, that's why I'm still a Pops or whatever, but, just hard just getting it out there or whatever, or hard getting, someone, I guess, to give you just a chance,
He also,
some of it's too is about money. Like when it boils down to it, like, because some people always be like, well, why you don't travel more and this and that. And it's just like, well, that takes time and money, and, no one's really rich out here,
Right. Yeah. People got to understand, when you hit the roads, whether it's with wrestling or with music, like, if you don't have a solid background to begin with, you could end up worse than where you are now.
Yeah. I mean, and like, that's how some people, they're like, oh yeah, why don't you get jerseys? Why don't you get hats? And it's like, well, I have a certain budget. It's either like, CDs or shirts. The things that I know people buy that are going low, instead of having no shirts and you have like 10 jerseys that you got to sell for. You don't want to sell it too high because like you're still not famous, but it's just a money thing and stuff like that.
He also asked, said you had a song about I wish I had the exact quote here, but with the recording software, it blocks me out from seeing the rest of the Skypes here. But he did ask that you have a song called about calling on your cell phone for the boom boom.
Oh, for the phone bone.
For the phone bone.
Yeah.
He wanted to know does that actually work?
Then we actually did have a number for like it was. Can't remember how we had it. It was like a little like for ringtones and just it was more for a joke. But like, at that time, it did work for that particular city. But I think it just expired.
Yeah, he like I said, he's a super diehard fan. Anytime he got to see, he always looked like a kid at Christmas. So,
Yeah.
and when I told him I work with him at the shoot job, and when I told him today that actually I told him when I first messaged you about doing this, I
Mhm.
told him that you was going to be a guest, and when I told him that we were recording tonight, he looked very happy once again, and sent over that wanted to make sure that you knew that you were his favorite rapper, and that you should be getting a Grammy for your great lyrical genius work.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I appreciate the love. I mean, and like this is like the one weird thing that someone told me like when I first started. And like, it still kind of goes. I mean, I would never change, my career or whatever, But someone was like, yeah, if you actually did normal rap music, you probably would have been famous. And I was like, well, I don't like doing normal rap. I like doing like, different. And like that was the one thing like when I did do normal shows, people did was like, oh wow, you are different. I got a lot of love just because I was a different type of rapper,
Mm-hmm.
physically and everything. But it's just sometimes it's just like, and plus like when it boils down to it, you live in St. Louis, so I mean, people like Nelly and Ching, they when they got discovered, they were still in like California, New York, or somewhere. They wasn't just in St. Louis.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And with that, the other question that I have was submitted by another big fan of yours, Deathmatch Wrestling superstar,
Okay.
Cape Championship Wrestling superstar, Cash Borden. He wants to know what made you decide to come up with the Saw gimmick. When he saw you at that first show, I guess it was you was a dressed as the Saw gimmick.
Um,
You were dressed like Jigsaw.
Yeah, I guess the idea was just to be different because I remember, I mean it's something that for people to remember. It was one of those situations. Different shows I would do, I would always dress up in different costumes from Saw to like Mortal Kombat. I dressed up like the X's, It was something just like a time I get to dress up for fun. And like when you look at other artists, bigger artists, they would dress up, even from bands like Earth, Wind, and Fire, Frankie Bello, they would do like magic tricks on stage and stuff. And it was stuff that you can remember. Like Prince would do his thing, Marilyn Manson would dress up in different costumes, or even like Rammstein, it was like a lot of the other shows that I went to, and I took in like ideas from them that I remember that I would never forget because they were different. It wasn't just like, hey, I'm gonna just be up here in a microphone. I'm gonna try to actually give a for real full show, and hopefully people will remember. Well, he came out in this costume or something. Besides, okay, he's just holding a microphone type of situation.
Okay, definitely. I mean, that's what you got to do in the business. You got to make your mark. You got to be, you got to stand out. You got to be recognizable, and it was a good way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just fun. 'Cause like I said, I've been to a lot of shows, and I mean, like I say, it's cool to see a band or artist do something that's like, oh my god, he came out, with a pig mask on, or he came out in this, or something like that. I mean, I remember I went to see Mushroom Head, and it was this one band called Blue Felix,
Mm-hmm.
and the lead singer of this band, and he's like 6'2" and like kind of a heavy set dude. And he was like hanging upside down, swinging on the light fixtures. And I mean, and it's stuff like that, like, whoa, like, I saw this dude performing, and this is what he was doing, stuff that you would never forget, compared to, okay, he just sat out there and like walked around stage, singing or whatever.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, P.O.W., I appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to do this. If the shows don't get canceled, you got any shows coming up?
My next show coming up is ICP September 20th at Pops, and hopefully it still goes on. And like I say, honestly, it's still in the air. But that's my next show right now. I had some other ones come up. I was actually going to open up for Scum again, and that whole show, but that got canceled for now. So just keep a lookout on my social media, and I appreciate you having me on here. I hope you stay safe too, and I hope all listeners stay safe.
Well, I appreciate it. So as far as with the ICP show, if it does continue to happen, will you be selling tickets for it?
Yes, yes. I still have the tickets. Like, even though the date is still marked, the April date, Pops is still going to take them and everything like that. So I still have tickets and everything. So if anyone needs them, have them contact me or just find me on Facebook.
Yeah, and this is a great time, man. Where can everybody find you on social media?
Like I said, look, just Google Pimp on Wheels. But if you have Facebook, type in Pimp on Wheels and it'll pop up.
There you go. Easy enough.
Yeah.
Find him, hit him up on Facebook. Get your tickets for ICP coming up in the fall here. Hopefully that show will still happen. And if you need tickets, hit up P.O.W. for that. Make sure you hit up P.O.W. on his socials to pick up some T-shirts, some CDs, things of that nature. And as always, make sure to, if you got any questions, comments, concerns with the podcast, shoot us an email at bigleesworld@gmail.com. Follow us on all your favorite socials, your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram, at Big Lee's World. Make sure to like, subscribe, and rate, share this issue. We appreciate all the love and support. We appreciate you taking your time out to listen to this. Hopefully if you haven't yet, catch up on the back catalog on your favorite podcast platform or at bigleesworld.com. Once again, POW, thanks for joining us. I appreciate you taking time out for this. And everybody listening, thanks for tuning in. And as always, 2 scoops of whoop. Whoop,
oh, yeah.
whoop.
Anytime. Yeah, thanks for having me. Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop.